Welcome, my name is Jasmine Hill, and this is my new series, the first in my new series, movie review type things. I call it, This Better Be Good. And the reason why is because I'm not just doing a typical movie review, I am delving deep into plots. A lot of movies, or movie makers nowadays, seem to feel that story and plot are unimportant, and that is not true. If it's not a story, then there's no point to it at all. So that's what we're going to be delving deep into. We're going to teach those movie makers how to make good movies. So here we start. Today we are talking about the movie Ready or Not, and before we delve into it, I'm going to just say up front, this is going to have huge spoilers. So spoiler alert, stop this if you don't want to hear what happens in this film, because I'm going to tell you. If you've seen the movie, then no problem, keep watching. Or if you just are on the fence about watching it, you can watch maybe close-ish to the end and then stop. Unless you just don't care about that kind of thing. Totally up to you. Anyway, Ready or Not, here I come. Let me just start out by saying I don't like gore. I don't care for it. I am just one of those people that cringe when I watch it. If I'm going to be watching one, I have to put up big wall barriers to not feel literal pain myself. But my biggest beef with gory movies tends to be that often the gore contributes nothing to the story. Absolutely nothing. You're watching a movie and you're following along and gore! You know, an arm falls off, something else falls off, and it's like, oh, you know? But then that gory scene is just like, literally like you just have a movie and then they just like cut it at different points and they just insert the gory scene. It doesn't contribute to the story. It drives me insane. One of the things that I think of when I watch gory movies like that is I think of way back when CGI was new and everyone was like, hey, did you see that movie? The CGI effects were rad or whatever they used to say. But nowadays you watch those movies and it's like a whole scene to show what CGI was capable of back in the late 90s or the early 2000s. It's like, who cares what it was capable of? Something else that it reminds me of is when 3D movie theaters started going up everywhere. In almost every movie, they have the 3D scene where stuff is being thrown at the camera. And you know that if you're watching it in 2D, it's like, oh, well, this is the 3D movie scene. Anyway, I digress. That is why I get frustrated with gory scenes that are just inserted in movies that have no purpose to the story. I wrote something on my blog, and I think it's important enough to share here, but a good story is only interested in itself. It doesn't exist to bolster a scene. The scenes exist to bolster stories. So remember that. All that to say, Ready or Not is very gory. And I partway expected not to like it. I did want to watch it. It intrigued me. And then, as gory as it is, I liked it. And that's saying a lot. Here are the spoilers. Here they begin. So just again, let me warn you. All right, so Ready or Not, I'm going to read you my description from my blog. Ready or Not is about a young woman marrying into a wealthy family. They are all strange right off the bat, but after the ceremony, which takes place at the family home, they get weirder. She is told she must draw a card and play a game, which has been a rite of passage for anyone entering into the family by marriage for many years. She draws the card hide and seek, and her new husband and mother-in-law seem none too happy. Yeah, her mother-in-law really likes her before she seems to like her. The husband and, they seem to have like a good relationship initially. Her father-in-law tells her she has until the count of 100 to hide. And that is the only way, and the only way she can win would be to stay hidden until dawn. The bride thinks this is ridiculous, but plays along, and after she is gone, the family begins distributing all kinds of weapons. They encourage her new husband to stay back, and he sneaks out to try and help her escape, and thus the carnage begins. All the maids are accidentally brutally murdered by the family, who are unfamiliar with the weapons they're using, usually in front of the bride. She gets majorly injured, often including getting shot through the hand. Whoa, that scene. Ugh. In another scene, her back is ripped as she squeezes through her fence. As the film progresses, you sense and feel her anger mounting at the family that is doing this to her. She fights with unearthly strength to stay alive, but in the end, even her new husband betrays her, and for a brief moment, it looks like all that fight was for naught. And then dawn comes. Turns out the family had made a pact with the devil long ago. If someone picked the hide and seek card, they were to be ceremonially sacrificed before dawn, or else. Well, or else happens. The bride watches inches away as each of these people who had hunted her down mercilessly are disposed of, and begins to laugh. The bride does, after all. And when we're talking disposed of, we're talking like the thing that is surprising is that when you get to the end of this movie, you feel satisfied. You feel vindicated. And the reason being, I kind of asked myself this question because I was like, this is a really gory movie. Why did I like it? The reason why I liked it is because you feel this poor girl suffering. Like, she suffers majorly, and you suffer along with her through the film. And it's at the hands of these people who this is just what they do. They're out to get her, and you're angry at them. You're worried about her. And so when at the end they get their comeuppances, because they do get their comeuppances, you just are kind of left going like, oh, yes, justice is done. And there can be an element, and this I didn't mention in my blog, there can be an element of vindication or revenge. Obviously, we're all capable of the emotion to have revenge, but I think what this movie touches on is in a way deeper than that, because revenge by itself always ends up being hollow. It's like someone wronged you, and you're the one to seek this vengeance against them. In this movie, she's just fighting for her life. She is not the one who deals justice. So when justice is dealt, I think that point in the movie makes you feel like the world is right again. It touches a much deeper heartstring, or whatever you want to call it. So gore, I feel like in this movie, although I'm not going to say that I enjoyed it, it's not there to enjoy. I think in the movie it is there to really bring home the injustice of what is happening to this young woman. And then that injustice goes away. Literally. Poof. I feel like it's a well executed film, which again, for me, is saying a lot, because most of the time gore just exists to be gore. And there's no point to that. There isn't. If it exists, it should exist to further the story. There. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this movie review of Ready or Not. Once again, my name is Jasmine Hill. Subscribe wherever the subscription button is, the little bell so that you can stay up to date. And below I will also have a link to my blog where I blog. I have a blog on this. I have a blog on a couple of different things. Sometimes it's a little bit different than what's on my channel. Stay creepy, weird, and real. Bye, folks.